In the Middle Ages, remaining single was the highest mark of esteem among knights. Anyone who vowed never to touch a woman for his entire life and upheld that vow was regarded as a formidable figure by fellow knights. As a result, the three major knightly orders that monitored each other's celibacy earned great respect at the time. England's undefeated champion of single combat, William Marshall, even requested to be buried as a Knight Templar before he died. This reverence for celibacy did not exist since ancient times. It was the outcome of the Church's long-standing indoctrination. Traditionally, Christianity viewed the relationship between men and women with disdain, seeing it as an unavoidable human weakness. The Apostle Paul believed that if believers could not resist bodily temptation, they should marry. After marriage, a husband's body belonged to his wife, and a wife's body belonged to her husband, and anyone who dared commit adultery or engage in extramarital affairs was considered gravely sinful. In his eyes, the primary purpose of marriage was not even procreation, but to curb the spread of lust. Of course, believers who could remain single their whole lives, as Paul did, were held in particularly high regard, prompting the earliest monastic communities in the Egyptian desert. Augustine later revised Paul's views, claiming that women were the most wicked of creatures, devilish accomplices, and the downfall of believers, and that any man truly devoted to the faith should steer clear of marriage. Subsequent Christian scholars adopted this perspective, asserting that procreation through marriage was a believer's duty, the most reliable way to expand the Lord's flock. Beyond that, any sexual conduct between men and women was deemed illicit. During the Middle Ages, the Church even stipulated how and when couples could be intimate, requiring believers to observe strict prohibitions for more than half the year. Despite the fact that most medieval monarchs had wives and heirs, there were still some rulers and nobles whose minds were thoroughly washed by holy water and chose to remain single. One Saxon king of Northumbria took pride in his wife remaining a virgin for 12 years, and Edward the Confessor vowed lifelong chastity alongside his wife, strictly upholding it. In the eyes of medieval society, faithfully observing celibacy was seen as the mark of a virtuous individual. According to their belief, the divine blessings earned in this way were said to be 100 times greater than those bestowed upon ordinary married believers. From the very start of knighthood, the Church made every effort to indoctrinate knights, since in the early days, knights often viewed monasteries as little more than convenient cash sources. In Germany, the emperor even had to appoint knights as bishops to safeguard church properties. Monasteries, in turn, spent heavily to hire knights for protection, barely holding them in check. Over time, through persistent Christian influence, knights came to be defined as the strongest warriors fighting for Christ, and they embraced the Church's stance on male-female relations. This also served the interests of high-ranking nobles, who wished to protect their wives and daughters. By the 12th century, the concept of courtly love arose. Knights pledged their service to wealthy women as their patrons, venturing forth to fight in their name. Often, they were rewarded only with an embrace or a kiss. In the story of Tristan, he and a noble lady slept side by side for one night without doing anything, and that was held up as the perfect example of chivalry. When the call went out to retake the Holy Land, many knights believed they had to devote themselves to God, so they took vows of celibacy and formed knightly orders for unmarried men. Members would watch each other closely. Even thinking about a woman meant they had to punish themselves. This real man spirit of forsaking women for the sake of God won widespread admiration at the time, and such knights were regarded as warriors radiating a divine aura.